Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Plakata Nation. I'm joined by the one and only mi primo, Cos Rod, directly from the Bronx, and of course, also Jesus Ortiz, straight out of Houston, baseball writer extraordinaire, our insider. And I'm pumped, guys, because we get to start with a pretty cool nugget. All right, first at bat back, Ronald Acuña Jr. goes Plakata. First pitch, 470 feet, left center field, an absolute blast, and then the party was on. I mean, that was amazing. Coming back from this injury, I don't think he could have written it any better. Just when the Braves need him, here he is coming to the rescue. That was awesome.
Unbelievable. He's the guy's like a superhero. Comes in, reminds everybody right off the bat, oh, you forgot about me? Well, I'm going to remind you real quick who I am. First pitch, boom, a blast. Great way to come back. Welcome back, Ronald Acuña.
And he's dropping grenades? What's up with this?
He's on a mission. Yeah,
the celebration was out of control, I'm telling you. Like, I sit there and I'm like, whoa, is he going overboard? But that's the way it is nowadays. The kids are having a lot of fun, and one of the guys that have the most fun out there when he plays is Ronald Acuña Jr., and he's going to dance. He's going to do his step going around third. He's going to shoot some, threes, So it's really a show to watch. I mean, have you seen anything like it, Jesus? I mean, this is pretty exciting just when you see him play at his full potential.
Yeah, no, I haven't. This guy plays with a flair. He loves the game. And I do think, we see a lot of superstars who they kind of, as they get older, they mature out of the fun part of the game. But I think he's had so many injuries that he truly does appreciate the game, and he knows how quickly it can be taken. So when I see him, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for baseball. I'm happy for Venezuela because he is one of the greatest stars in the game, and he loves it. He absolutely loves it.
Yeah, let me ask you this. I mean, is there a point? I mean, this is from a veteran player, right? Here I am. I played 14 seasons in the big leagues. That was an absolute blessing. I never took it for granted. And I understand how blessed I was to have that opportunity. But when we sit here as veterans, we're like, man, is that too much of a celebration? Acuña is always going to be accused of going overboard. And you see Cos Rod like shaking his head. And maybe you have the traditionalist, the purists who would say, come on, that's showboating, or, that's just too much, showing up the pitcher. And I have to admit, sometimes I'm like, whoa, that's a little bit overboard. But it's absolutely natural because when I played, I hit a home run and I ran the bases because I thought that was what I was supposed to do. Would have liked to have a little bit more fun? Perhaps. But if I'm honest, I don't think I would have taken it to that extent. Doesn't matter how good I was. I don't think I would have got.
Carlos, you gotta chill. You gotta chill with this. Listen, it's baseball. It's a kid's game. We're having a great time. Ronald Acuña is one of the biggest, best personalities in MLB. The game of baseball is better when Ronald Acuña is out there being Ronald Acuña. All we ask of all of our athletes across all sports is give us personality, give us you, give us who you are. This is who Ronald Acuña is. In the Bronx, I have the best player in baseball, and Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. He's more reserved. He shows a little color sometimes, but he's more reserved. Ronald Acuña is Ronald Acuña. Just how Francisco Lindor is, just how Javi Baez is, everybody has their personalities, and this is who he is. And I love all that stuff. I think it's awesome. I think we need more of that in the game because that's what brings eyes to the game. And then when you have a guy like Ronald Acuña, MVP, former 40-40 member, he can do that. He can do that because he's the one guy that can back it up, And let's be real, Carlos and Jesus, if you don't want him doing that, then don't throw him that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it. I mean, that's one of the things, Jesus, that veterans will always point to. It's like, is that disrespectful to the game, this and that. But at the end of the day, like, if we want him to be this maximum expression, right? If we want his talent to truly shine, then we shouldn't hold him back, right? The thing is that you know how we grew up, right? Like we come to the United States, we're trying to achieve that American dream, and we go all out, and we want to make sure that we do things the best way possible. So we've always been, in a sense, a little reserved. If we go to a place where like maybe we shouldn't be so loud, because that's the land culture, right? And I think that's unfortunate, to be quite honest. At the end of the day, we have to be able to be ourselves and understand that as long as we're respectful to those around us and respect their space, we should be able to have the latitude to be as colorful as we feel that we have to be. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about being ourselves. So it's just interesting because that always comes up when we see these like incredible celebrations that we all kind of enjoy. You're like, oh my God, that was nuts. What is he doing? And he doesn't mean any ill by it. He's just having fun.
Well, he's a basketball fan. He's an NBA fan, and he loves apparently he loves John Morant. That's John Morant's like celebration that he throws like a grenade thing. There's nothing bad by it. Like I feel like we live in an era where we take everything to an extreme. Sometimes people just do things and it's just for the fun. It's in the moment. You know what I mean? And I agree with you, Carlos. Like as Latin people, we're very passionate. We're very fiery. You can walk into a room and you hear, I mean, Carlos, you remember all of the uncles, your dad, my dad, everybody together, not arguing, talking really loud because that's what we do. And everybody can walk in and be like, oh my God, a fight's about to break out. No, it's not a fight. They're literally talking because they're playing dominoes or they're watching a baseball game or they're talking about somebody's cooking. It doesn't matter. It's just, that's the passion. And you can say that across a majority of all Latin households. I know Jesus can attest to this thing too. Like, this is who we are as a people. We're passionate. And when it comes to baseball, we're super passionate. And that's just what it is.
Jesus, have you seen that? I mean, it might as well be a bumper sticker. It says, hey, we're not fighting. We're just Dominican.
Exactly. And Rodney pointed out, like it's Morant's celebration. And if you think of the last week, you think of what Tyrese did when he did the choke. Like
why you gotta do that for though?
He did the choke.
Why you gotta do
Let's
that?
just have some
there you
fun.
go.
And with Acuña Jr., it's not disrespectful. He is doing it. He's going to do it to anybody. That could be his brother on the other side. That's just who he is. He loves the game. And I think by now, Major League Baseball has accepted it. And one thing, talking about the culture, Dominicans, Puerto Ricanos, there was an incident a few days ago where Francisco Lindor is caught mimicking eject them, and eject Alex Cora too. And then what happened the next morning? He and Alex Cora went to have breakfast. Son hermanos, but when you're playing, you got the passion and you're being playful, and that's your boy, and the umpire's on them, and you're like, eject them. And then the next morning, Bueller's pissed, but Cora's like having breakfast with the guy. And like, it's not personal, bro. It's like, I la pasión, our gente. It really is not personal with Acuña. And God bless him. If you tear up one knee and come back, and then you tear up another knee and come back, and if you homer in your first at bat, put yourself in his shoes. You're going to be pumped, and that is okay.
Isn't that cool, man? That's I think baseball and sports in general, but baseball in specific, it lends itself for stories like this. It's crazy. When he was coming up to bat, I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching this live, and I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be cool if the first swing he took is a home run? It's like, because of the script, right? Like, you're thinking to yourself, that would be the coolest thing. And lo and behold, it happens. Plakata. I mean, that's pretty cool. And then he goes off and does all this stuff. I mean, you could see the moment build. And sports, that tends to happen. So good for Ronald Acuña Jr. It's awesome to have him. Baseball's a lot better when he's healthy. He's out there being himself and playing at his best. Wishing them a very successful year. And the Braves, trying to build up momentum and keep going. They started off extremely, extremely slow. Certainly worse than we know they are. They're better than they played at the beginning of the year. So we'll see what that takes them. And speaking of different stories, we look at the Detroit Tigers doing a great job, with one of the best records in all of baseball. AJ Hinch, one of your boys, Jesus in Houston, you see him just move his pieces. You see Spencer Torkelson doing his thing. Talking about those comeback stories. We talked about Javi Baez being a huge contributor. So I love these stories. So we're going to touch upon a few, including the Angels, who've been playing great baseball. But let's talk about the Tigers to start with, and then let's transition into the Angels. I love these sort of, I wouldn't say Cinderella stories, but these teams or these individuals who have had to struggle and work really hard to get, a spot in the limelight, finally, like after so much work. What are your thoughts on the Tigers? Let's go right to Agent Hinch, and I know that you're a huge fan of his, Jesus.
I think they're the best team in the American League. I know the Yankees have Aaron Judge, and he's obviously the best player in the American League right now. But I think as a whole, the sum of the parts are the Detroit Tigers with a great manager, and they're batting 255, 741 OPS as a team, 337 ERA, 119 ERA plus. They are the best team in the American League. And when you have an ace like they do, that's the key. Like I saw them last year, you do not want to see them in the playoffs. They did what very few teams had been able to do, what nobody had been able to do in 8 years, which was eliminate the Astros last year. They, and AJ is really good at putting people in their best place to succeed. I'm excited for AJ. I'm excited for them. Last year they surprised some people. This year they're not surprising anybody. And I tell you what, they're legit. And the surprise right now are the Angels, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
They swept the Freeway Series.
Man.
They got on this little run by beating up on the Dodgers, who are now reeling, right? Like, I want every GM in baseball who is not worried about his pitching depth to raise their hand. It is a grind, but I don't know how the Angels are doing it. The Angels, as we talked earlier in our planning meeting, they're quite used to having to do it without their superstar, future Hall of Famer. But they just keep winning. They just keep winning.
Yeah, Mike Trout. Now we can say Mike Trout has been absent and not contributing as much, of course, as he would have liked to. And it's been like that over the last several years, and it's been tough on Mike, because obviously one of my favorite players of all time. Not only to watch, but to play against. It's one of those guys that you were like, man, you playing against them, you're just thinking, I'm watching greatness here. But Rod, I mean, the Angels are doing it without him right now.
Yeah, they are. They're doing it without him, and sadly, we talk about Ronald Acuña. The game being better, Ronald Acuña. The game is all obviously better when Mike Trout is healthy and playing, because he's one of those guys that everybody wants to tune in and watch. And it's sad that he's not there to help his team, but it also shows the resilience of that team. Tyler Ward is just he's been on one, Carlos. That guy is on it. Zach Neto, the shortstop, who's just one of these guys that you heard about and you're like, oh, is he that guy? He's that guy. He's potentially the future of that team. Very good player, very solid. It's great to see the Angels back at 500. Let's see if they build upon this and maybe make a run at the top of that division. I want to throw it back to the Central, though, back to Detroit. I want to give a special shout out to Gleyber Torres. Gleyber played for the Yankees for a real long time. I have a very special place in my heart for Gleyber. Gleyber's one of those guys where it's like, I loved him, but there was times I was just so frustrated with him. And then to see him in Detroit and seeing him flourish, and sometimes it's one of those things where it's like, a new place, maybe new management, it helps. And you could see that. You could see him growing as a player, and he's off to a really good start of the season. And just to even go back into the Central as a whole, that division is turned into the division that I thought the AL East was going to be. You look at the standing in that division. That division is absolutely insane. Like, you have all these teams. You have the Tigers, followed by the Guardians, followed by the Twins, followed by the Royals. All those teams I mentioned are all above 400, and they're all vying to try to catch up to the Tigers. Meanwhile, I look at the AL East, which I thought was going to be a bigger fight. It's pretty much the Yankees slowly pulling away from that division. So when you look at that, it's, Carlos, we talk about, and that's what we talk about baseball, and baseball being so unpredictable. How unpredictable is that? That right now, at this part of the season, the best division in the AL is turning into the AL Central, a division that we all kind of like been like, oh well, there's some good teams, we don't know this and that. No, there's 4 teams there vying to run that division, and they're all really talented and all really good.
Yeah, man, that is so true. That would you say, Jesus, that is the Central the best division in the American League right now? I mean,
yeah, and you know what? It shouldn't surprise us because they had 3 teams in the playoffs last year, and everybody was surprised. I'm like, oh my lord, it's because it was a weak division. And what did they do? They just eliminated the Astros, and they did well in the playoffs. Like, they did very well in the playoffs. And one thing, if I could point something out, like we talk about the teams that are underachieving, you talk about the AL East. Let's give it up for Ramon Vasquez, who reminded baseball of the depth of the Latino coach. Because I think, especially with so many firings so early, no Latino coach has been hired to be the guy in charge. But I think it's important, like our boy Alex Cora, who took some grief, and I have to defend Alex Cora because his daughter graduated early in the day and he missed the game. Familia is first and foremost in Latino culture. And he showed his daughter that she was his priority. And he took the day off to celebrate her graduation from, I think, Boston College. And Ramon Vasquez, who's his bench coach, fellow Boricua, and he won the game and got a beer shower. And if you've ever seen those beer showers, I've been able to be present for one of them. It's the coolest thing because Carlos, I'm sure, has done it many times, but like, baseball players show love and appreciation by bullying, by harassing, and it was the greatest baseball shower. So Ramon Vasquez, Major League Baseball owners, hey, put this guy in your interview room and give this guy a job because he should be a manager someday. Alex Cintron here with Houston Astros has done a real good job coaching in the U.S. and managing in Puerto Rico. So let's a shout out to our Latino brothers who deserve recognition and deserve interviews to be managers next year. Be the next Joe Espada. Be the next Alex Cora.
Yes, indeed. I mean, Alex Cintron is going to be the manager for the Leones del Escogido in the Dominican Republic. So, there's going to be some. That's pretty exciting. I mean, it's great to see a wave of Latinos just rise to leadership in Major League Baseball, and it's merit based. So it's very merited. These guys are very prepared, gone through a lot in baseball. They stood the test of time, and they're extremely knowledgeable and getting opportunities now and capitalizing on those opportunities. So really pumped to see. Moving on to different stories as far as like we're talking about guys who've gone through that hero's journey and gotten to the pinnacle of the standings. Like we talked about these teams like the Tigers. We see the Angels coming back and really making a push now at 500. That's the type of story that we like to tell. And I know that Jesus, you've been eager to speak about Paredes and how well he's been swinging the bat. Of course, there's a pair there that's really opened your eyes. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you've been observing on this surge of performance as of late?
Yeah, two of the best players in the American League West grew up playing on the national team for Mexico and grew up playing together almost every level up until they signed with the U.S. I think they were with the Diablos Rojos de la Ciudad de Mexico. Yeah, they were even with
Jorge Cantu, Jesus, is one of my really good friends and former teammates, but good friends today. And Jorge Cantu, a legend with the Los Diablos Rojos. Please continue. Sorry for the interruption, but I had to make that parentheses in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the guy who leads the Astros in every major offensive category is from H-Town, as in Hermosillo, Sonora. And 11 home runs, 5 in the last 6 games, 7 in the last, I think, 11 games. Isaac Paredes is hot, and he's carrying the offense here. And then, as fate would have it, he homered yesterday to try to, he put the Astros on top early, and then they blew it late. But then in the ninth inning comes his childhood friend Andres Munoz, who is leading the American League in saves, leading the majors in saves with 17 saves as we record, has not given up a run, an earned run in 22 and 2/3 innings, has only given up 2 unearned runs. This guy is headed, at this pace, he's headed to the All-Star game and might even win the Rolaids Award. Which I guess now it's called the
Reliever of the Year award.
Mariano Rivera Award.
Mariano Rivera Award.
The Chainsaw Award. Or chainsaw, breaking bats.
Yeah, you win anything with Mariano Rivera's name, that's saying something for a reliever.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm glad you brought him up because I don't think we talked about it. I don't think he's talked about enough in Major League Baseball because it's kind of snuck up on us, and he would absolutely hate you hearing say that because he knows how hard he's put in, how much work he's put in to get to this point where he's performing at this level. I think we're all guilty of saying somewhat implying the out of nowhere narrative. I mean, I hated it when I played. I hated it when I first, got drafted. Oh, this kid comes out of nowhere. I'm like, wait a second, out of nowhere? What are you talking about? I know where I've been. I've been working my butt off. Finally, I'm getting an opportunity. But the same goes for Andres Munoz and for many more who we know have been working really hard behind the scenes. So whenever we have a chance to exalt them and to make sure that we point them out, and that's why you bring up Paredes as well. We have to give merit where merit is due, and these guys have been absolutely outstanding. And with that, guys, I mean, this is what we do here at Plakata Nation, because we try to highlight these incredible performances. Yeah, we have some difficult conversations at times, but we enjoy bringing forth to light these amazing achievements, because I think it sets forth a great example of what it means to crush the now, what it means to go out and do the best you can in order to maximize your potential. And these guys and these teams are the perfect example of all that. And with that, I would like to bring up the quote of the day. All right. Talking about that hero's journey, Cuss Rod came in hot today, talking about the hero's journey and how important it is, because I think all of us deep in our hearts, we have our own story, our journey to run and to travel through. And John Eldridge, great writer. I would personally recommend him. I have read several of his books. He says, deep in his heart, every man longs for a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful. So all of us, inside of us, we have, and specifically talking about men here, and this could be also translated into women, perhaps the last line a different way, but think about it, a battle to fight. Why, right? We need a battle to fight. That's important for us, to give us purpose. An adventure to live. Man, we're We want to go out there and live an adventure. We want to be in the middle of it, and we want to be, Rod. I would love to get your take on this because you were the one who brought this up. We want to be the hero of that adventure, and of course, when we look at our wives, our families, we want to be the hero and that rescues the beauty, and isn't that so true, man? The way we look at our wives and how we want to be their hero. I think this quote right here, and I'll repeat it again and I'll let you guys chime in. It's so deep and powerful. Deep in his heart, every man longs for a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue. Go on, gentlemen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I grew up, I grew up in the hood. You mentioned straight out of Houston, but I was literally straight out of Compton growing up. And there's, you do chase an adventure. You do, to make your life and to write your own story. You chase an adventure, and then when you grow up fighting for everything, sometimes you get caught like looking for a fight, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But and then once you're married, you're not looking to save anybody, but before you are. And I think, you know we're ending the podcast right where we started, right? Ronald Acuña Jr. He em- that he was the embodiment of that, because he was not able to perform, and now he's back at his adventure and he is succeeding, and he showed just how much it meant to him.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with Jesus there, and I equate it to all of our stories today. Like today's episode was a beautiful episode because we literally went and spoke about all these people that went to some sort of adversity to kind of come back and play the game that they love. And in terms of that quote, in life, we all go through things. We all stumble and then we get up and we go through our journey, because I feel like in order to become a hero in your own life, you have to go through the struggles. You have to understand what that struggle is. You have to know what that pain is. That way, when you do succeed, you look back at those moments and you be like, that moment, that's when I learned to become the hero. That's when I became the hero in my life. Ronald Acuña Jr., ACL surgeries, won an MVP, got hurt again, came back, had a moment. We look at Isaac Paredes, we look at Andres Munoz. These are guys that have been battling, trying to make a name for themselves, and they're doing it. Those two are young men, 26 years old, with the future ahead of theirs. They're putting on seasons that could potentially help them and their families for generations. That's their hero's journey. Carlos said it best. He hates the term out of nowhere. Well, it's not out of nowhere. He's put in work, on all those backfields, staying up late studying, trying to make the grades, but then also try to put up performance on the field, only to get drafted in the first round by the Texas Rangers. And then look at him now. We've all gone through our journeys. We've all gone through our struggles, and we're all here. We've made it. Appreciate that. Don't forget it. That is vital. That is very vital. Celebrate your wins, because we're all heroes and we're all evolving and we're still going through our journey. So this was beautiful. This is great.
And one thing, just a shout out to some Latinos making a difference. Our boy in New York, Carl Anthony Towns, they're struggling right now in the Eastern Conference finals, but that's a Dominicano who shouted out his Dominican fans and the people who helped make him there. Let's celebrate guys who are making history, but also equally important, recognizing that they have so many people there supporting them.
Yeah, and look, for all of us, we have examples here to follow that are great embodiments of what we're talking about. But everyone in their own right, just like Coach Rod was saying, let's to the audience out there, guys, let's find out what is our purpose. What are we fighting for? What is our battle, right? And find it. Find your why. Your purpose, and then get into that adventure. Because it is an adventure, right? Don't shy away from it. Let's get through it. It's kind of exciting, to do the best we can where God has has placed us, and then that beauty. That beauty to rescue. That's actually a very good concept, because you look around you and you see your family, and perhaps it's if it's not your wife, it's someone important in your family. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna do it for my dad. He inspires me. Or I'm gonna do it, for my mother. Look what she's gone through and how she worked so hard to get me to this spot. Whatever it is, find that person that inspires you. I don't know, man. It's a beautiful thing, and I think that's a perfect formula, right? Find a purpose, get into the adventure, and then perhaps find that someone that inspires you, that's going to fuel you. So, and with that, we wrap up this episode of Plakata Nation, and I really hope that you have enjoyed it. We certainly have had a lot of fun, and we can't wait until next time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. All right, and with that, we say Plakata. Until next time.
Adios.
Later.
Today's episode of the Plakata Nation podcast was produced by the Argentina Podcast Network. Executive produced and edited by Ras Guevara. Additional engineering support and publishing by Francisco Castro. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen. It really helps us grow the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.